You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is December the 17th, 2019. With you today is myself, Carl, and Stevie Nick.
I am with you today, and I feel like I need to start this week with an apology.
Okay.
Because you texted me yesterday, and you're like, hey, it's the same day of the week that we do the podcast every week. Can you do this podcast? And I was like, oh, nope, can't do it. Let's do it tomorrow. So I apologize to you, Carl. I apologize to if there are listeners who wait for this thing to come out. I apologize to everyone.
On behalf of the listeners, I accept your apology.
Wow, thank you. I was gonna do a bit where I read some famous apology speech, but I feel like we've done that on the show before.
I do feel, yeah. I'm not sure who did that or why.
Like Joel maybe did it once.
Yeah, that's a thing, but that's good. Well, welcome back. Glad we could still do it.
Me too. A lot happened. There's a lot to talk about.
There's a ton that happened. Keeping in the theme of this season, two coaches got fired this week. There was a big old trade that happened. We're going to eliminate a team from the playoffs already, our second team, and it's going to be much happier for you this week. So,
well, yeah, two coaches got fired, and then the Red Wings started winning again.
I mean, what a week. Right after we put them in the Elimination Station, do you think that was the bulletin board material they needed?
Don't even ask the question.
I'm just saying. They won multiple games after going in.
Twice, 2 in a row. And then lost again.
That's fine. I mean, they're going to get back on that wagon against the Jackets tonight, so it's fine.
We'll see.
Well, let us get to the show. Before we do, Park Power is one of the fantastic sponsors of the Alberta Podcast Network. Park Power is a special place because not only can you get your utilities, which you need, especially in this dead of winter that we're in right now, you're going to need that. But when you do, you can also support local charities, which is always a great thing. And you can actually pick when you sign up for Park Power. Head over there and they let you pick which charity your account supports. So that is a great thing. Parkpower.ca is your place to go for that. We finished the show last week, Nick, and mere minutes later, it seemed, Jim Montgomery fired. I think it was the next morning.
Yeah, I think now that I think about that, I think it was the next day too.
So we woke up the next day to news that Jim Montgomery was fired, coach of the Dallas Stars. What? Because the Dallas Stars, they were bad at the start of the year. What is it? What got Mr. Montgomery fired, Nick?
Well, I don't know. Some material act of unprofessionalism, I believe, was the quote from Jim Nill. It had nothing to do with the team's performance. Doesn't sound like, anyways.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy.
It's super weird. Something happened behind the scenes that must be, I don't know. I have a feeling it's super embarrassing for him, and the team was like, yo, man, not cool. We can't employ you when you act like that. And I'm speculating, obviously, but it's got to be some sort of behavioral thing. Right.
And look, it very well could be, right, that they're doing him the favor of not going public with it. Because obviously they knew enough that they brought it up to him, fired him for it. But I do find it interesting that the Dallas Stars of all organizations are the ones that are calling, again, I don't know what it is, and I'm sure I'm going to say this, and then news will come out of what it is, and I'll look like an idiot and an insensitive jerk. But this is an organization that just last year, the CEO of the business called out his players publicly, calling them horseshit.
Right.
And now, less than a year later, like coming up on a year, right? It was end of December last year that this happened.
Yep.
And they're like, you know what? Unprofessionalism is why we're firing people now. Like, that was unprofessional.
It's weird, man. This whole thing is weird. And the fact that, and they came out and they said, because they announced it like an hour or so after Bettman announced his like 4-step plan to help the players from the coaching situation. And they said it had nothing to do with that too.
Right. Yeah. Obviously the steps were in motion. They didn't need the NHL's hand in that.
But I think what they were saying was it's not one of these Bill Peters situations. It's not like, it doesn't have anything to do with any sort of abuse or harassment or racism. This is like a personal matter of behavior.
Okay, is that what you took from that?
Yeah, that was my understanding.
Because like I in no way I'm trying to just like not cast any sort of like assumptions in this, because who knows what it actually is. Which, like, I guess that's good without knowing what he actually did. That was unprofessional, but.
Wow. I mean, like, still a pretty big coincidence.
Oh, especially right now, right? Like, the fact that in this times that we're in, when coaches and news about coaches is coming down all over the place, that's a thing. It certainly leans towards that.
100%. So this happened last Tuesday, I guess, the 10th.
Yeah, that would have been last Tuesday.
And they've played in 4 games since then.
How are the old Dallas Stars doing?
2-1-1. So fine, I guess.
Yeah. They've got Rick Bowness behind the bench now. Has been, he's coached before. He's played, a quality career. Hasn't been in a head coaching role in quite some time though. So very much, I would say, and he's an interim head coach. I would say an aggressive interim tag on that. But
was he an assistant coach on the bench?
Yes, he was.
He was. Okay. So he's familiar with the players and,
absolutely. And he was last year as well. So he's been there for season and a bit. So he's obviously knows the organization, but a lot to go there. And we'll see. Obviously, Dallas is doing well, and if they're still running that same system, should continue staying on the same line. And we didn't mention this and kind of plan to talk about this one as well, but the Marc Crawford situation. I don't know if
I don't know much about it, but that one sounds to me like it's part of the whole coaching scandal.
And it is. Marc Crawford, currently an assistant coach with the Blackhawks, currently suspended after multiple players came out and talked of abuses from him. And what's interesting is that he is actually going to be returning from his suspension on January 2nd.
Oh, so they've cleared him?
So he actually had a very interesting piece, and I obviously am glad that this is the approach that has been taken by him mostly, but talking about how over the last decade he's been going to counseling and working on a lot of these things because he was aware of those issues himself and has been working towards that. And the Blackhawks said that they have experienced none of those issues with his time with the team, and they continue to support him in working to improve himself and his relationships with players. And so they're keeping him. They're not removing him. They say, he is not that person that he was then. He said he's not. He apologized publicly, I would hope, also privately to those players, whether now or earlier. But Marc Crawford stick with the team.
Wow, that is interesting. I mean, that guy's got a track record in the public eye.
Right, exactly.
So like I have to say, he was definitely one of those coaches that I thought, yeah, for sure, without a doubt. He's part of that like old school crew, right? Who just, I don't know what else to say about him. You could tell he was an angry dude once upon a time. If he's changed his ways, which it sounds like he has, I'm happy for him. And I guess that's good proof that people can change.
That is good. Absolutely. The other coach that got fired this week, and it's terrible that we have to say this now, for performance reasons only, Pete DeBoer no longer, after being the worst of the week last week, actually, not last, just for the entire year, we just left them as the worst of the week. San Jose Sharks, he's gone.
Yeah.
Which we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And now we're here. So
it's too bad that his goalies got him fired.
It is quite the difficult situation for him. I mean, he was the coach of the New Jersey Devils. We'll talk about them soon. But what's even weirder is their choice of replacement coach. Because they did not just bring the assistant coach in to replace him.
Yeah.
Oh no. They thought, you know who's the man for the job? Bob Bugner. One
of the best hockey names out there.
I mean, I think that's how you want to hire coaches by, right?
Yeah, but they had to go out and get him, right? He wasn't with the organization.
No.
And they still only brought him in as an interim.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I would too if I was hiring Bob Bugner, but
I think that they've missed a golden opportunity here to pass on the coaching duties to Joe Thornton and make him a player coach.
Oh, that would be the perfect opportunity.
Just let Thornton and Marlowe coach the team. I'm pretty sure they do anyways.
Yeah. I mean, they already are having, if being on the Leafs taught me anything, that Patrick Marleau's already hosting team dinners every Sunday.
100%.
He's having the team over for Christmas probably. He's going to just require that Joe wears a shirt just for dinner. Joe cannot show up shirtless to dinner. It's not allowed.
Just for dinner though. Once they're done eating.
The gift exchange he's allowed to go shirtless for. And the rest of the night, all bets are off.
His shirt is the gift.
Yeah. That's all he gets. And it's a picture of Patrick Marleau's face on the shirt. It's a wonderful present, and I think we can all be thankful for it. You're right, though. I mean, well, unprecedented to do that, right? That's not a thing. A better choice than Bob Bugner.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe they passed up on it.
So,
anyways, Bob Bugner, I don't know much about his coaching. I know that he had a bad time in Florida, right?
Which is his only other NHL job.
Yeah, where did he come from? Why did they just out of the blue hire him as a coach?
The Panthers?
Yeah.
He was coaching in the OHL, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Before that, yeah.
And obviously he's a former player, so he deserves a job with an NHL team.
I think that is how it goes, yeah.
Yeah. I was just kidding. I couldn't tell if you knew I was kidding or not.
I very much did. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he was coaching with Windsor.
That's right. Yeah, he was coaching with the Spits. Yeah, and then he didn't do well in Florida. I wonder why who knows?
It just seems like an unnecessary choice. Because his time in Florida wasn't good. Here was his playoff record with the Florida Panthers. He never made it. Bob Bugner managed to get hired after being fired at the end of last season. Still never played a playoff game. And with the way the Sharks have been going right now,
it won't.
Yeah, that will continue.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. He's probably a poor choice for a coach, but I thought they probably made a poor choice in firing Pete DeBoer. He was doing fine. His goalies suck.
Yeah. Did you see who the goalie coach is? I saw Evgeny Nabokov at practice this week working with Martin Jones.
No way.
So if there's I don't know how he is as a coach, but he's a former player, so he's got to be a good coach.
Obviously. He deserves that role.
Right. He earned that. So that's interesting. So if they could have him, because he's a guy who managed to have some downs in his career and turn it around.
For sure. He was good. He played in the NHL for 15 years.
Yeah, that's true. He had a time
with who?
He had a time with the Leafs, didn't he?
No, Tampa Bay.
No, I'm thinking of Vesa Toskala, a different former San Jose Shark. That was a fun time.
Yeah, I don't think the Leafs like that name.
No, they still. I don't know how often you go to Toys R Us, Nick. For me, it's every Tuesday. So I had to. I had to cancel it tonight.
What the hell?
That said, do you ever look when you go in there at what their collection of NHL figurines?
No. I don't remember the last time I was at Toys R Us.
Just me. Okay, cool. I just always find it interesting. You will still find a Vesa Toskala Toronto Maple Leafs action figure at every Toys R Us across Canada.
Is it deeply discounted?
No, they've actually increased the price because they think it's a collector's item at this point.
Right. So what kind of toys are you buying every Tuesday?
A lot of puzzles.
Yeah. Are you a Lego guy?
Some Lego, yeah. And LOL dolls because you got to stay on the trends.
Of course.
Anyways, that's your Evgeny Nabokov and Vesa Toskala news for the week.
So is Nabokov a new hire for them? Because I thought they let go of all their assistant coaches as well.
Yeah, and so that's, from what I understand, is he was not with the team previously to this. This is something that they've brought in. And if that's the approach they're taking, then that's great. It does, looking at, you said that they cleared house. They essentially just brought in, I believe, the 1999 San Jose Sharks are coaching this team. Maybe the 2000 Sharks, because they also have Mike Ricci behind the bench with them. So Bob Bugner, Mike Ricci, I think he just went through the roster from that team and pulled them up. So
pretty sure all those guys played with Joe Thornton.
Oh, for sure. Let's see. When was because Bugner was a Shark. Ricci.
No, Thornton would have been with Boston at that time.
Oh, that's true. Dang it. When was Bugner a Shark, though? Because he did play there, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, let's find out. Bob Bugner. There's also a Barry Bugner.
Ooh. No, I'm
Sounds
wrong.
fake.
He was not a Shark.
He is not a Shark.
Was Barry?
You think that's who you're thinking of?
Yeah. I just seem to remember a Bugner back in both seasons that Barry played.
In 1970 and 71.
You know what? We're not far off though, because he did play in Oakland.
He did play in Oakland.
That's pretty much the same thing.
I hate that worked out for you.
Yeah. You know what? Take enough shots in the dark. Eventually it's going to work. Eventually you're going to get that discounted Vesa Toskala action figure and things are going to be great.
One of these Tuesdays, Carl, you're coming home with the Toskala figurine.
Just as long as we don't have to keep rescheduling this podcast, it'll happen for me. And next Tuesday is Christmas Eve, so it's going to be a crazy day at Toys R Us. It's really going to be a thing. So
yeah, it will be crazy.
I should probably go in early. What else happened? There was a trade. There was a trade this week. Did you hear about this?
Yeah. How are you feeling about it? Are you upset?
A little bit. Yeah. Obviously. If you did not see the news, Taylor Hall traded to the Arizona Coyotes after initial talks had him as a front runner with to go to the Avalanche.
That's right.
And I loved the idea of no matter which line we put him on, right? Because our lines are currently, our top line is McKinnon, Rantanen, and Burakovsky, with a second line of Landeskog, Kadri, and Donskoy. I loved the thought of moving Burakovsky to the second line and having a top line of Hull, McKinnon, and Rantanen. and a second line of Burakovsky, Landeskog, and Kadri. That
Would have
seems
been dangerous.
great.
Yeah.
I also saw some people talking about the potential of doing a Penguins scenario where you throw Taylor Hall on the third line there.
That's something that Jim Rutherford is crazy enough to do. Obviously he didn't, but like I could see why people would think that.
Yeah. Nonetheless, he headed out to Arizona, so a little disappointed he didn't end up there. No contract extension, part of the deal at all. No conditions on that. So Taylor Hall looking like going to be testing the market this offseason.
Which he always intended to do.
And he hasn't had that chance yet in his career. And I'm not sure.
He's made no secret of wanting to test the market.
Yeah.
Like he said it in interviews, he's interested to see what that whole process is like, and he's looking forward to going through it. So,
I mean, don't we all want to be the most beautiful something at the ball? Don't we always? We just want to be, right? It'd be. I would love it as well.
The most like sought after asset. Yeah.
100%. To have 31 teams call me and be like, "Hey, do you want to come hang out?
Yeah.
Do you want to go for dinner?" I'm like,
I'll buy you dinner and give you $13 million.
Yeah. It seems like a win. Nonetheless, maybe he'll stay in Arizona with that $13 million. Do you think $13 million is what he's going to get?
I don't know. I said that off the top of my head. What's he at now? 6?
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, he'll probably land in the 10 range, don't you think?
Because what old friend Mitch Marner is that's our peak for what a winger should get.
See, these RFAs are messing with the system.
They are. So we've got that happening on one side. So I don't think like 11 million seems the highest I think he would get.
Yeah, I think it's probably in that range, 10 to 11.
So we will see what happens there. That said, the fit in Arizona. Let's start with his situation with the Coyotes.
Well, let's
interesting spot.
Let's say what the trade is.
Okay.
Because I don't think we've done that yet.
Okay.
So Taylor Hall and his buddy Blake Spears went from New Jersey to Arizona.
Are they friends?
I don't know. I've never seen this name before.
Okay.
I assume maybe they roomed together at training camp. I don't know. They went to Arizona in exchange for Nick Merkley, Nathan Schnarr, Kevin Ball, a 2020 conditional first round pick, and a 2021 conditional third round pick. So it's a lot.
Right.
It's a big trade.
Absolutely it is. And the conditions are, I believe, around the third are conditional on playoff wins. Does it say in? Yeah.
So the first round pick is conditional on Arizona being in the top 3. So if their 2020 first round selection is in the top 3, then New Jersey will get their first round pick in 2021. The third round pick can upgrade to a second if the Coyotes win a playoff round or if Taylor Hall re-signs in Arizona.
Okay.
And there's more. The pick upgrades to a first if Hall re-signs and the Coyotes win a playoff round.
Okay, so it could be 2. Which do you think is more likely, the Coyotes win a playoff round or Taylor Hall re-signs in Arizona?
The Coyotes win a playoff round.
I think so too. I mean, if they win a playoff round, though, it could be pretty likely that he goes back too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably what they're hoping, right? Because I also saw that the GM, John Chayka, has come out and said he's not even starting contract talks with Taylor Hall until after the season.
I mean, you want to get Taylor Hall in there. You want to get him, used to the city, help him find a place to stay for the next few months, let Phil Kessel show him the best hot dog joints in town. These are the things that you need to do before you start making contract talks.
You beat me to the joke. I was going to say the same thing.
This is why we do a podcast together, Nick.
Who would have thought Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel on the same team, eh?
Oh, when Phil Kessel was traded for the pick that ended up being the Taylor and Tyler pick, who knew that they would always be connected and end up together?
Yeah, I mean, I like this move for Arizona.
Well, and by giving away such an abundance of picks and prospects, they didn't really have to give up. I mean, a first-round pick is a first-round pick. If they continue to play well, by adding Taylor Hall, you would assume that they'd play better than they are now. That becomes lower. And really, the rest of it, nothing to be too sad about from the Arizona perspective.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about these prospects because I don't recognize any of these names.
Like,
are they high-end?
So the one that stood out to me was Nick Merkley, because I was getting him confused with Ryan Merkley.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Ryan Merkley. And then, like, he's not an Arizona prospect. So,
right.
Not a thing that could be happening. If it was Ryan Merkley, I mean, in that hypothetical situation, then that's something to get happy about. But Nick? Yeah. I mean, I've only got room for one Nick in my life, and it's not Merkley.
That's right. That's what I thought, Carl. Better not invite another Nick onto the show.
Wouldn't do it.
So really, like, the trades in the picks.
It is, yeah. Especially, like, the Devils are hoping that they can turn this into 2 firsts. But in the long run, you know, they've got a first and a third, and some prospects that aren't really going to be with this team for some time. They're certainly not going to be stepping into this lineup right away, which I find is interesting because this literally says to me the Devils are just pushing back this rebuild, right? Like, they're not trying to kickstart it. They're not trying to, like, continue on this way. They're like, yeah, let's just stockpile some prospects.
It is kind of weird with how aggressive they got in the off season. Like, this almost feels like a 180 to me. They went out and got Subban. They went out and got Gusev. And now they're pumping the brakes and going backwards again and being like, well, maybe we're not ready.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, do you think that this team really is that bad and not ready? Or do you think that, like, they're just not having a good year and they'll bounce back?
I think that if they, I mean, we talked, 2 weeks ago, whenever he went on waivers, when Corey Schneider got waived,
yeah,
we talked that this team needed goaltending. They still do. This trade does not fix that hole for them. And by trading for draft picks and prospects, doesn't move them any closer to filling that hole.
Correct.
And so I don't think that they're any closer after this trade to being where they need to be competitive at all.
No, this is not a trade that makes you competitive. This obviously removes your competitiveness.
But, like, I don't think it sets them up to be more competitive next year. Like, I don't look at this and be like, oh, okay, makes you get worse to get better. It just makes them get worse.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That said, they did. So, because Taylor Hall held out of the lineup in both Colorado and Arizona in order to not have him get hurt. Not to showcase him to probably the 2 suitors that were there. Like, they should have just, like, let him practice with the other team. Like, hey, he's not playing tonight. Do you want to borrow him? Didn't play. They did beat the Coyotes 2-1. So without Taylor Hall in either lineup.
Wow, if he was playing for the Coyotes, I wonder what the score would have been.
That was probably what made them pull the trigger. We beat you. You need him.
I do think that holding him out like that says a lot about how they feel about his health and ease of injury.
Right, exactly, for sure. Because I was doing a look at his numbers recently. Because he got traded. That's why I was doing it. And as one does.
Yes, of course.
And just the lack of playing games, because I was like, oh yeah, he's got to have 50 points, 60 points repeatedly. And if you look at it on like a per game basis, sure, but played 33 games last year, missed 10 games 2 years before that. Obviously, the big year where he only played 53 at Edmonton, like he's played obviously less than 80. He's only played the full season once. He's healthy so far this season. But man, if there's ever a guy who I'm questioning handed out a 7 or 8 year deal to, it's Taylor Hall.
Right. I agree.
Well, and correct me, the Coyotes cannot, or they can offer him an 8-year deal after the season, correct? Is that how that works?
I believe it has to be before July 1st.
Right. But I'm just, because I know that there was some things, especially like with Erik Karlsson last year with the Sharks, there was a time that they had to wait until for him to be able to get that 8th year from them. He wasn't able to sign it right away. Do you recall what that is?
I don't recall what that is, no.
Okay. But yeah, certainly once July 1st hits, you're only getting 7-year deals from anyone. And I would be very hesitant to do it. That said, if the Avalanche have the cap space and if they sign it, our July 1st episode next year, just ignore all of this.
I'm sure everyone will remember it.
I mean, people do, Nick. The people who were waiting on Monday night for an episode who had to wait until today, they remember.
I'm so sorry.
All right. Well, let's get to our best and our worst, Nick. And right now, to stick with, there's a lot of good happening right now. We've got hockey on the TV. It's the holiday season. And I decided for myself, maybe should we just have a worst this week?
Let's just jump into it. Yeah.
Okay. We've got one collective worst that Nick and I both agreed is the worst of the week. And it comes out of Los Angeles, Nick. And actually coming out of Los Angeles is a fitting description because Ilya Kovalchuk, no longer a member of the Los Angeles Kings. He has cleared waivers. He is unwanted by the entire National Hockey League, is no longer under contract with the Los Angeles Kings, and is free to go wherever he wants.
He is a UFA now. After 2 seasons with the Kings on a what did he sign? A 3-year deal?
Yeah, 3-year deal. Didn't even get through a year and a half of it. Turns out signing with the Los Angeles Kings, not all that is cracked up to be. Being a veteran on a rebuilding team is a mistake, it turns out.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure the Kings are one of the oldest teams in the league. And they were before they signed Kovalchuk.
Yeah, they doubled down.
Yeah. It's very strange. But I saw a few things on Reddit via Twitter or Twitter via Reddit, whatever, on the internet about Kovalchuk that I thought were interesting. One of them was from Slava Malamud, and he said, I'm not sure whether it's known in America or not, but in Russia it is. Kovalchuk's actual age is 2 years more than is indicated in his documents. It was common practice in Russia and youth hockey in the 90s and early 2000s. So his age is showing in an unsurprising fashion. Did you see that?
I did not.
So he's on Hockey Reference. He is listed as 36 years old.
Yeah, April 15th, 1983 is his listed birth date.
So if this is true, what Slava Malamud tweeted, then he's actually like 38 years old.
That's, not surprising. It also isn't surprising. It's not surprising the gray hair, but if that's the same case with Ovechkin, and we've got 36-year-old Alexander Ovechkin running around doing what he's doing right now, that's our best of the week right there.
That never even crossed my mind. Like, I didn't even think about other players who would have done that. But yeah, Ovechkin would have.
Because they're 2 years apart in age, right? That would have been the same time.
Yeah.
Man.
So he's an old dude. He's not old. He's not old for as a person. He's old for a hockey player.
Right. With all due respect to our 38-year-old listeners out there, the 36-year-old is like, oh, thank goodness, I'm fine.
Yeah. So,
all of our 38 and above just turned off.
I thought that was interesting. I thought that was pretty insightful.
Yeah, that is a good thing to note, and certainly does point to the fact of why he is not worth $6.25 million, and the Kings are like, just be gone. We don't need you anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like, this guy hasn't played a game in a month or more at this point.
Yeah, if you're a team, right, looking for it, because he can sign for league minimum if he wants to. He's getting his money from the Kings. He's getting paid anyways. Would you sign him to a league minimum contract if you're a playoff contending team?
It's funny you say that, because that brings me to the other thing I found on the internet from Igor Iranko, who says, per source, Ilya Kovalchuk wants to sign with a contender and would be okay with a minimum salary.
Well, there we go.
You want to know who's interested?
Please.
The Boston Bruins.
Of course they are.
They would be, right?
Of course it's them.
Would I, like, going back to your question? No, I don't think I would. Unless I had a personal relationship with this guy and wanted to do him a solid. But what could he bring to an NHL team? What do the Bruins see in Kovalchuk that they're like, okay, come on, take a roster spot? Because it's not about the money at $700K or whatever the league minimum is. It's not about the money. It's about taking the time away from somebody else who can be more productive.
Yeah. And I think it just comes down to, well, if need be, we'll just cut him in the same way that the Kings cut him, right? And it's 1 year. It's going to be a cap hit penalty of $700, and we can bite that bullet.
I guess so. I just I don't know. To me, all Kovalchuk is the value he brings is his name. Like, he's a big name player, obviously very popular back in the day, very controversial in how he left the NHL. But I don't know, not that. I don't know. I wouldn't do it.
No, I would do it. Take that chance. It's fine. Again, it's not like you talk about the personal relationship, unless there's some sort of like toxicness that he brings with him, like he's just a bad person, then you shouldn't sign him if you believe that that's the case. But
well, he doesn't have a great history of being good for PR in either situation. That, like, obviously, the whole thing with the Devils wasn't great, but even with the Kings, like, he made his unhappiness with the team known.
True, yeah.
Like, he didn't go down easy.
No, he did not, Nick. Yeah. Oh well. No, I'm still sold. I'll sign him. But it sounds like he's gonna go to a contender, and on a reasonable deal. So we'll see where he ends up. He's obviously got to get some practice in first, get that rust knocked off.
Yeah, no kidding. Move those legs.
Gotta warm him up.
Lead the team stretch,
Exactly. As a 38-year-old, this is what you got to do. Like if we're comparing him to Patrick Marleau, he's not having the team over for Christmas.
No, he's not.
Yeah, it's a very different situation.
Absolutely not. And he's like, we'll split the bill 24 ways.
Yeah. Credit card roulette, and somehow his doesn't show up in there.
Yeah.
On the flip side, though, Ovechkin is hosting the team dinner. That guy's always the life of the party in Washington, and
in Washington, in the NHL in general, he's the life of the party.
Yeah, he's a good time, and now he's got the kid, so a nice family holiday dinner with the Capitals. That'll be good.
Yeah.
He's also the guy not wearing the shirt, so it's all bets are off in the Ovechkin house.
Can't wait for that content.
Let's go to the Elimination Station. right, Nick, we have been keeping track of who has been eliminated this year. Can you run down the list?
I hate you so much. Let me open my notes app so I can pull up the list. Elimination Station. The Detroit Red Wings. They're the only ones.
Oh, there it is. I can see that. Yep. And I opened my list and confirmed that is the case. We have eliminated the Detroit Red Wings, but improvement. Did you get to see, we talked last week, kind of to cycle back. Did Comrie end up playing this week? I don't know why I'm so invested in your backup goalie. I just really want.
He played one game against the Jets, and it was not a good game for him.
Okay, well, I'm uninvested,
but he'll be back. I don't. To be honest with you, I didn't catch any of the weekend games, so I don't know if he played again. But they just placed Jimmy Howard on the long-term injury reserve, so he'll be back.
Okay, this is a thing that I'm a sucker for in every, because like goalies are a thing that like you can just like find a goalie and you don't necessarily know he's good until you try him sometimes, right?
Yeah,
like goalies are one of those fickle, weird things. In the same way that like quarterbacks are in football. And I am a sucker for every new goalie or quarterback. I'm like, oh man, maybe this guy's going to be great. And I get invested and then he's terrible and I'm just left disappointed. So,
well, I'll keep you posted.
Yeah. When Eric Comrie has a good game, please let me know.
Okay.
Like very quickly so that I can tune in. I want to see him. The Elimination Station. We pick a team to eliminate from playoff contention. Even though it is only December the 17th, there are 30 teams for us to choose from, Nick. Where's your heart leading you today?
Where I feel like last week I was, it was rough for me, Carl, and you made me say it. Like you made me fight for it, which I didn't appreciate. So I'd like to hear where your head's at this week.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to try to eliminate the Avalanche right now. Just like I've got a list of reasons and we're doing it.
I don't think I could argue to
do
it.
You don't think you could eliminate the team that's fifth in the NHL right now?
No, I couldn't.
That's fair. So there's a few teams, kind of like a 3-pack that I've got my eyes on. We just talked about the New Jersey Devils. It's an easy one for us to eliminate as well. Just make it a real bad week for them. We can move Ilya Kovalchuk to the best of the week and make them the worst of the week. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I'm not ready to write the Devils off yet.
Why not?
Because I still think that they have some good pieces in place. We know that the goaltending situation is pretty dire, but like if that's the worst of their problems, that was the worst of St. Louis's problems last year at this time too.
Nick, you know what? You mentioned the St. Louis Blues, and I was like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, okay. Yeah, like St. Louis, I'm in. I'm sold. Not New Jersey.
Not yet. I think there's other teams we can eliminate before them.
Okay, well, I'll give you my next one up then. Okay. We'll just go through the entire NHL, and you can disagree with them all.
Okay.
And this one I'll give reasons for it. The Ottawa Senators are my next team up.
Okay.
And part of the reason why, and I was leaning towards them first, and I think you might agree with me, because this is a team that we expected to be terrible this year that still is terrible. There was no hope in Ottawa, and there still isn't. There's not like, oh yeah, like we're doing better because of blank. They just, like, Mark Bowecki stopped a robbery a couple weeks ago, and that's the highlight of the season for the Ottawa Senators.
I mean, one of the best stories they've been involved with in the news in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it was car related. Like last time there was an Ottawa Senators vehicle related piece of news. It came from an Uber. So it's great to see that tide turning for them.
Okay. Any other reasons?
This year they actually, I mean, they're fully in on the tank again. And so any leftover pieces that are movable could still be on their way out. So, you could see some of those move. They have Ron Hainsey on this team, who, like, he's not from Russia, but he also might be prone to that whole age thing you talked about. And I'm not sure. I just talked about the fact that I get excited for like good young goalies to show up and do things. Marcus Hoberg of the Ottawa Senators doesn't do that for me. Doesn't get me ready to see what he can bring. So for all of those reasons, and more if I need to provide more evidence, the Ottawa Senators are my team.
Well, Carl, as much as I love disagreeing with you, I can't on this one. I agree. Eliminate them.
They gone. Welcome to the off season. You actually, once they're eliminated, you don't get to play any more games. You're done.
Hit the golf course. Oh wait, you can't because it's winter in Ottawa.
That's the downside to being eliminated in December. So, as per tradition, what does one do to fix the Ottawa Senators?
Wait. I mean, like, I'm looking at their cap-friendly page right now, and if you look at their contract situation, they're not in a terrible spot. They've got some good young players. They've got some good prospects. They've got a good goalie prospect, I think, in Philip Gustafson. So you wait. I mean, like, they're the last year and even this year, they're kind of doing the right things roster-wise.
Yeah, ever since, I mean, like the Matt Duchene trade, they would acknowledge. I mean, they might not, like Pierre Dorian might not come out and say, but like, come on, they know that was a flop. They know that was a big old mistake. But last year, they cleaned house at the deadline.
Yep.
They moved out Erik Karlsson when he wouldn't be there. So this year coming up, they have still a first-round pick from the San Jose Sharks. They have a second-round pick from the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I believe they made two trades with them last year, right? They made the Duchene trade, and they made the Dzingel trade.
Yep.
So that's one of them. They also have a second-round pick from the Dallas Stars, and I'm not sure who that one's from. Oh, that came via Vegas in the Mark Stone trade. So they've got 5 picks in the first 2 rounds before the deadline's even shown up this year.
I just did some quick math. That's 8% of the picks in the first 2 rounds.
That seems good.
It's good.
And one of them will hope, I mean, for them, top 5 pick at the very least.
Yeah, right?
When Nick's New Jersey Devils turn it around and Ottawa ends up as like one of the bottom 3 teams, it'll be good for them. Well, and I mean, unless they go on a Detroit Red Wings-esque elimination station bender and start winning, the Red Wings are coming for them.
Two wins is a bender these days, huh?
I mean, you know what? You take what you can get, Nick. That said, go ahead.
I was just going to do what you were going to do, is make something up. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've said my piece about the Senators. What do you feel like they should do?
My that said was going to be, I'm not sure there's any pieces that are free agents that people necessarily like will pay anything for, really. That's the only thing. I'm not sure that there's any pieces on this team that like you can sell off at the deadline.
Yeah, they've they're pretty slim at this point. I mean, I think Anthony Duclair is having a great year, but how many more times can you trade Anthony Duclair?
Well, and he's a restricted free agent. Like, you could keep him. I mean, he scored a hat trick the other night. Just let him be good. That'd be great. So we got that's the Ottawa Senators. They're doing better than we thought they would. From like the rebuild side, I agree with you on that. Not terrible. And if Gustafsson can become a pretty good goaltender, then they're set in that regard as well.
Yep. And the best thing that they've done for themselves this year is keeping their owner out of the news.
Yes, very much so.
And I think that's that. I joke, but I do think that that's done wonders for them.
Yes, I have not. I haven't had to use the burner account I created for quite some time, and it's disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I do like having that as an option. Well, should we pick our must-watch games of the week, Nick?
Let's do it.
All right.
Pick games.
Before we do, while we pull up schedules and do our Let's Pick Game song, let's give an update. High Sticking is a game we play. Our friend from On the Warpath, a Buffalo Sabres blog, is running away with this session. He is up, I believe, 13 points. He's got 45 points, and I believe second place had 32. So big lead for him on the back of Jack, actually. Jack Eichel's been carrying him quite a bit lately. So, I mean, he can't carry the Sabres. He might as well carry some high-sticking teams. Am I right?
You're right.
That's what I like to hear.
Don't get used to it.
Yeah, I won't. Trust me. What are you looking at on Wednesday night hockey?
I am looking at not your team. I'm looking at Edmonton at St. Louis.
I would also recommend watching Edmonton and St. Louis. Edmonton's struggling as of late. Not as hot as they once were. But you gotta figure it out. I haven't ever since the comments came out, because I don't know if you saw, a lot of people were saying as Edmonton was losing, they were like, man, like McDavid and Draisaitl are looking tired. James Neal is having a Milan Lucic-like stretch of hockey right now. And just Nugent Hopkins missed some time. He is back, but obviously they need that supporting cast to show up at all.
They do, absolutely.
Then we've got Friday, and as we get, we'll get some weird schedules as we get closer.
Oh, you skipped Thursday.
Should I do Thursday as well?
Yeah, you should.
Okay, fine. Thursday night. We've got the aforementioned Dallas Stars against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, I was looking at that game too.
There's that. There's another one. If I wasn't watching that and I wanted to watch Ilya Kovalchuk, I'd watch Bruins Islanders.
He may be signed by then.
And if I'm staying up late, you can watch Taylor Hall burn the Minnesota Wild.
There you go.
Now, do you want to talk about Friday?
Now we can talk about Friday.
Okay, Friday.
After you named 3 games for Thursday.
But there's a big schedule on Thursday.
There is. And
I didn't even name the Avalanche versus the Hurricanes.
I'm impressed, actually, that you did.
Yeah. Should I name a 4th game?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Let's go to Friday. 12:20.
Oh, I thought you said that was a start time. I'm like, man, the NHL is getting weird with their start times.
That's the date.
I figured it out. It's been a week, Nick. What are you looking at?
I am looking at Toronto, New York, or Pittsburgh and Edmonton.
Pittsburgh and Edmonton will be good. It is disappointing that there will be no Sidney Crosby in that game, though.
That is disappointing.
The Red Wings can get a win on Saturday night against the Maple Leafs because they might be placing Michael Hutchinson. That'd be nice.
That would be really nice, actually. However, I don't think that will be enough to get a win.
He's still winless though.
No, he's not. Is he?
Yeah. The Maple Leafs have lost every game he has started this year.
Then, yes. Please face Michael Hutchison. We will be watching that game. We have family Christmas that night. So we will be watching.
And that's Windsor family Christmas?
No,
so
Toronto. Okay. Toronto family
Christmas. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be good. So Nick will be watching that at family Christmas. That is, I do not have family Christmas that day. That is Christmas shopping day, Nick. That's when I will be.
It's not a Tuesday though.
I know. That's when I'm gonna. Well, because you know what, holiday season, you need to go a little bit more. I'm gonna have to hit up the Toys R Us, and I might go somewhere else as well. So I'll do a little bit of shopping. Maybe I'll go to the Bay, like a good Canadian.
Okay,
they're right next to each other in the mall that I go to.
Of course they are.
Yeah. So I'll go there. When I get back, Washington Tampa is a game that I could be watching. Mm-hmm. And in classic NHL fashion, because I was like, there are early games. I'm on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday is Christmas shopping day. Man, I'm all over the place. There's a bunch of games early, so we've got Sabres Kings. Don't watch that. Ducks Islanders. Probably don't want to watch that either. And then Jets Wild. So if you're having family Christmas or Christmas shopping at Toys R Us, skip the early games and just watch Lightning Capitals. Or we could watch our Sharks against the Blues. See how Bob Bugner and the early 2000s San Jose Sharks coaching staff does.
Yep, we'll see. Sunday. What do you think?
I'll be having family Christmas.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Going to be out at the farm that night. And I think that I will subject them to Flame Stars.
That's probably where I would have gone to.
Mostly because that's going to be on cable, and I won't have to worry about trying to stream the game off satellite cable, which is a thing you can do apparently.
Okay.
And do we want let's do Monday as well, since that is the last day before the holiday break. What you got?
There's an early game on Monday.
There is. There's a few of them.
Annual Carolina-Toronto midday game around the holidays. I don't know why they do that every year, but they do it.
Seriously?
Yeah, they've done it a few years now. It's always Carolina too, which is very strange.
Interesting.
What day is this? Monday? Monday, there's the Battle of Florida. So we got Florida-Tampa's on.
Yeah.
We've got...
It's actually like a ton of very good... Washington-Boston, right?
Yeah.
Like first and second in the league. We've got that happening.
Arizona-Nashville will be a good game.
I know I haven't picked them yet this week, but Colorado-Vegas would be a good one to watch there.
Yep.
I mean...
Good
Jackets,
slate of games.
Islanders, if you're looking, Monday, you're deciding to put off your Toys R Us shopping until Tuesday like me, you can do that. So, there we go. That is our selection. And then that takes us right up to the holidays, Nick.
Yeah, there's a nice break after that.
Absolutely. If you happen to be one of those who are traveling, I actually got a request from someone this week. They said, hey, can you do an extra long episode of the podcast? Because I'm flying to New York this week, and I want to be able to listen to all of you talking about hockey for way more. It's looking like it's going to be about average right now.
It's like this is the first time I've heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think we would. What else could we talk about if we want to give him that extra long episode?
On next Monday?
No, today. Like right now.
Today, now.
He's flying this week. If you're traveling this week, happy holidays. That was my segue of how we got to this.
Oh, okay.
It was going to be enjoy your travels. And if you were traveling right now and listening to us, thanks for taking us with you.
Yes. And yes. Be safe. Have a safe travel season.
Absolutely. Because a lot of us will be having family Christmas and all of those things before we're back with you. So enjoy that. And if we don't see you until after the holidays, have a good New Year. Enjoy your time. Thank you for joining us in 2019. And we will we'll see you when you come back. We will be here getting ready for maybe next week we'll talk about there's a big tournament coming up, Nick, the old World Juniors.
Ooh, yeah.
And not sure if you know this, Canada, not really good last year at it. So we'll see kind of maybe next week. We'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the tournament this year.
Should be a good. Where is it? Do you recall?
I don't, but the games are at weird times.
Really?
Like Canada USA starts on Boxing Day at 12 o'clock Eastern.
Like noon?
Yeah.
Or midnight?
Noon.
Interesting. It is in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
Okay, so like that seems about on par.
So it's like a 5 or 6 o'clock local time, probably.
I don't know. What's the time in the Czech Republic right now? Let's find out from Google. What was? So you're guessing a 5-hour difference?
5 to 6, yeah.
So right now it's 2 a.m. there, which is 8 hours different from me, 6 hours from you. Look at you, a man of the world, Nick Sagan.
That's right. I always give my guesses in ranges, so it's less likely that I'm wrong.
Well, and it
5
worked.
or 6
it paid
hours.
off for you. Somewhere between 5 to 7.
Okay.
Seems good. Yeah, there you go. So that will be happening starting on Boxing Day, as per tradition. And we'll be going through until the gold medal game is on the 5th of January. So we don't want to steal from that preview next week. So without further ado, enjoy the holidays. Sorry, this is what you get when you ask for a longer episode. This is what you get. So you're welcome, Joe. You can find, if you're looking still, maybe Carl, I don't want to go to Toys R Us shopping with you on Saturday or next Tuesday, which you're all invited. Just send me a message and we'll meet up. The first ever podcast meetup at a Toys R Us near you. You can go to Seat Giant, and you know what why you should do that?
Why?
Well, because you can get 5% off. And you know what would be a great thing to find under the Christmas tree, Nick?
What?
Tickets to something. Concert tickets, hockey tickets. I love getting that. I got Hitman tickets last year under the Christmas tree to go see the Calgary Hitmen, some nice junior hockey. Head on over there. You can save 5% with promo code APN for Alberta Podcast Network. You will not be disappointed when you can make someone smile and save money, and you don't have to tell them. Let them think that you paid full price for that.
That's how Christmas works. I mean, that's what I do.
Right. You want them to think, man, this person really spent a lot of money.
Yeah. When really you just stole it from the garbage bin across the street.
Yeah, I'm glad you said garbage bin. I was really disappointed. And maybe that's why.
You think I was shoplifting?
Yeah. Did Mark Borwecki stop you?
That was me.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to have a heart-to-heart with Nick here once we're done the show. Should we record that? Is that how we're going to pad our time on this episode? An impromptu intervention?
On how I acquire Christmas gifts for my friends and family?
Yeah. Well, so Seat Giant is a great way for you to not have to steal and can get great gifts for the people in your life. If you're still looking for something, it's a great idea. Head on over there and do that. You can find more about us at thefourthlinepodcast.com. You can find some great articles. Brody had a good one about Offside this week, and Mike Laybourne wrote an article looking at the Detroit Red Wings, trying to find out if this is the worst season ever. Spoilers, it's not.
I don't even think it's close.
It's closer than you'd like.
Oh boy.
I mean, it was close enough that you asked the question.
Yeah. It is. You're right. It's close enough that you asked the question.
I mean, it's not as bad as the worst season from the Avalanche. So you've got that going for you.
Yeah, well, nothing's that bad.
Nope, that is true. Thanks, Patrick Waugh. So we've got some stuff over there. You can head to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts. We are there for you. And until next week.
It's time for us to wrap up another Fourth Line show. I know what you're thinking. You don't want us to go. Kovalchuk is older than we thought. And if you wait too long, all the toys at Toys R Us will be bought.